So, welcome back to the Fishbowl series. I'm Katie Weidstrom Landgraf, and I'm here with Janet Tilstra and Maddie Murray Teagles. And Maddie, you're in a really exciting place right now. Where are you?
I am in a place that is absolutely humming with other SLPs. I'm at ASHA. I am in Washington, D.C., and I'm geeking out with everybody else here.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Do you remember that old joke, 3 comm disc professionals walk into a bar and, oh, wait, you've never heard it before? We haven't either. But what if 3 comm disc professionals did walk into a bar, sit down at a table, and have thoughtful conversations about a whole host of topics? What if you could eavesdrop and maybe even pull up your own chair? And what if that bar was actually a coffee shop because at least one of us would inevitably fall asleep or want to dance after a couple glasses of wine? This series is that conversation in the coffee shop where you get to listen in on thoughtful discussions about a variety of topics from the perspective of a medical SLP, a school-based SLP, and a professor in communication sciences and disorders. Grab a drink, pull up a chair, and let's get started. This is the first time back that we've been back at ASHA since the pandemic. And so last year, no ASHA, and this year, it's phenomenal to be back here.
There's so much energy at ASHA.
There is. It's weird though, because, you know how we've been to ASHA before and there's just throngs of people?
Yes.
There is not.
How does it feel? Like half as many or less than that?
Oh, I would probably say 25%.
Wow.
Not
You know, what's really interesting about our series right now that we are doing, the Fishbowl series, is that I felt inspired by all of the incidental conversations I would have at ASHA when we were talking about what we might want to do for a podcast. So one of my favorite things about ASHA is I call it the hallway talks, the transition talks, the times when you're at one of those really cool and kind of interesting ASHA after parties, I guess, like the day after the convention, you have these different places you can go. You can meet all of these different people. And when I was thinking about our ideas and spending time together and kind of sharing our different perspectives and experiences, I thought about some of those spontaneous and dynamic conversations at ASHA. I'm wondering, Maddie, have you had some of those spontaneous and dynamic conversations at ASHA this year?
I have. Last night I went to one of those parties, SLP Social Scene. And it was the names there were phenomenal. The people I met, like Ed Bice, I've always wanted to meet Ed Bice. I knew exactly who he was with his bow tie. I met a gentleman named Travis Thratt, who is a dean of the CSD department at George Washington University. Got his career, his PhD back in the 70s, and I sat and talked to him for easily 20 minutes. I was hoping I wasn't that, passenger on the airplane where you're like, oh, quit talking already. I could have talked to him forever. He knew so much about the history of our field. Ianessa Humbert, who's a swallowing specialist. These are my people, and I just loved connecting with them because they, like all of us, you and I and the people I'm meeting here, are so passionate about what we do and the difference that we want to make. And I think that's one thing that is different about ASHA this year. The people who are here are the ones who, and not that if you're not here, you're not, but it's just different.
I wonder how many people are accessing the hybrid option. There's the connecting online with ASHA this year.
I believe 10,000 people registered for ASHA. That's what I was told coming in as an exhibitor. About 5,500 were online, virtually, and about 4,400 were in attendance.
So there's that whole cohort of people that are You can't see them visibly, but they are participating. It's like a new world, I think, thinking about this kind of convention structure.
Yeah, it is a whole new world.
I was thinking of one moment, this was a few years back, but those ASHA moments. I was sitting at lunch in the convention hall, eating my box lunch, having a nice conversation with Walter from Memphis. Then all of a sudden, I realized it's the author of one of my textbooks I'm using for fluency class, Walter Manning. And it was just this super fun moment, like meeting a rock star. Took a picture for my students with me and him, and we were all excited.
Isn't that something? There really is that experience at ASHA of meeting your rock stars. And I think that when you go to ASHA for the first time, you realize that you might end up in conversation with somebody who created one of your assessment tools that you really, really love, or somebody who co-wrote one of your textbooks, or someone who has influenced just the way you approach intervention with an evidence base that they help create. And what's interesting is you realize that those opportunities to have conversation that isn't a presentation are just so incredibly valuable. And that's why we're all here together having this conversation.
Absolutely. There's sort of this, I think of both and as my life philosophy in some ways, but there's a person who's extraordinary in their field and they put their pants on one leg at a time, just like I do, right? So that humanness, I feel like makes some of those achievements more easy to feel like I could aspire to that. This is a real person, not just a legacy.
Very, very, very well said. The people I've been talking to, whether they are the names that I mentioned before, or they don't have their names out there yet, they still have the same passion, the same value, the same, this is what I do and why I do it. And it's just wonderful being here. It's wonderful being part of this Fishbowl series because this is what we bring.
Were you able to be a part of the keynote session?
I did. I was sat in the back. It was very full and is just excellent. Everything has been excellent this year. Everything's been excellent. Very inspirational. Very, we are rising together. We are rising strong. And we're recovering.
Yeah. ASHA is a really big conference, and there are times that can feel like a lot. But the thing that I really do love in my experience is just feeling like, I may work in a small department within a university, but here I am a part of this really big group of people who are also in the same field. And there's this just really feeling like you're a part of something much bigger than your day-to-day experience.
And I think one of the best things is being able to be surrounded by all of that energy and all of these people where you can feel like these are my people.
Yes.
They understand, and you have kind of that shared experience and passion for a profession. And that allows you to have these really substantive interactions a bit more quickly, I think. And what a wonderful thing. Now, I do have to ask, when we're thinking about interactions and the spontaneous conversations, Maddie, you were charged with maybe getting some questions that we might discuss in future episodes. Did anybody submit any kind of questions or comments or things that they're hoping we will talk about in the future?
I've got a whole list of questions for us. And they come from, we were just talking about how we are all pulling together. One of the shifts that I have noticed that COVID has done for us is it's erased some of the boundaries that we have among our self-imposed little Venn diagrams that we create for ourselves. And the questions reflect that. How do I, specifically, I've got a lot of questions about, and we can't answer them, so we'll have somebody else. But how do I become an international SLP? How do I handle work visas? How do I decide which CF is best for me? How do I find a mentorship? How do I advance my career where I want it to go? How do I retire and I don't want to get paid anymore for this, but I really want to leave a legacy with what I'm doing in my field. So it covers the whole entire gamut of what are we doing and why are we doing what we're doing.
Mm. So who are the people stopping by then? I mean, I can get a sense from some of those questions. Some people may be people who've been in the field a while, but who else?
Well, something interesting has happened. When I started Fresh SLP, I started the Fresh part because I started it years ago when I was working in a skilled nursing facility with a student from River Falls, Wisconsin, and she was doing her clinical rotation with me. Her name was Kate. I called her Kate the Great. And she started asking these questions, and I'm like, wow, let's give you some resources for this, resources for that. And we started writing these things, and that's how Fresh SLP started. It was for the brand new or transitioning SLP. And then 2 days ago, we launched Badass SLP, which is coaching for SLPs along the coaching continuum. So to answer your question, Janet, people are stopping by for their questions all along the continuum. So we're getting students who are stopping by and they're like, I'm loving the career I'm entering. They're loving the podcast because we are having real conversations like a day in the life of a med SLP. Katie, you're going to be hosting a day in the life of a school SLP. Janet, you're going to be coming on and hosting some conversations about stepping into academia. There is such a thirst for what can we do along our career span. So I'm getting it from everywhere. There's just a new embracing, a new energy. We're coming out of the pandemic and we're stepping into being who we want to be now and connecting. So the questions are all across the board.
Wow, that's exciting.
Yeah, I have like goosebumps. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, we have people lined up at the booth. It's super cool.
Oh, that's really exciting. It's really worth being there.
I think on the heels of this past year where we did have a lot of isolation and an experience of disconnection in some ways with our profession, with colleagues, and also, of course, with family, friends. I mean, the disconnect was pervasive. I think this podcast and the work that you're doing, Maddie, really helps create an experience of connection that is portable. And so I just really appreciate the work that you have done and continue to do to keep those connections for folks. And, hey, thanks to Kate the Great. That is one of those moments where you realize that somebody has the potential to influence and have a legacy long after they are done sharing that moment with you. And how cool is that? So shout out to Kate the Great too.
Absolutely. I was thinking about, thinking about how many of us have been maybe working more remotely in the past year and a half, and just that opportunity for self-reflection and how that probably is spearheading a lot of people thinking about, what do I want to do? What legacy do I want to leave? What's next for me? What opportunities might I want to explore? I have 4 former students who are applying for PhD programs, which I've never had. And I mean, I just think there's a lot of people thinking, what if? What next? So I love your role in that process, Maddie. Thanks.
Well, it's interesting. I had somebody stop by. She's a military SLP. They've moved all around the world. Her husband's retiring from the military. And she's now, do I go get my PhD? Do I go get my SLPD? Where do I go? What do I do? So I was asking her some questions on what she wants to do. And I find that people are really taking the time to pause and reflect and very consciously say, where do I want to go and what decisions am I making? So these are the conversations that I'm looking forward to having with you, future. How do we choose where to go with do we need more education? Do we need more letters or do we need more, I don't know, still to be developed, but it's pretty cool, exciting where we're going. And
that's great. It's really such a pleasure to just have a little window into your ASHA experience. And I'm really glad we could have this conversation.
Yes.
Well, we're going to continue on. This is the last day of ASHA, so everything's kind of winding and closing down. I've been it's been fun being in the members table hall because I'm beside a booth, speaking of semantics, and she's a school-based SLP, and she's made a huge killing at selling stickers. She has a booth, she has the line that's longer than us.
Wow.
Arriving in, and they're, one of my favorite stickers of hers is "Show me the data."
Love it.
Yeah, she's just so cute and clever with the things that she's done. We've got an older, seasoned SLP who's been in the field for a number of years, and she's developed something, and she's for dysphagia, an oral nerve task, and she's here with her booth. And it's just amazing what has sprouted up over the pandemic when people have taken the time to pause and stop.
I love that. I'm looking up this, speaking of semantics, website. There's one shirt she has. I got 99 problems, but a master's degree ain't one. Love it.
She could help us with shirts. Yes.
Oh, my word. Very gal. Let me look her up quickly. Her shirts are phenomenal. Let me find her quick. She's phenomenal.
I'll just read off a couple more sticker things then. Speaking of semantics, it's with an A, SAMANTICS. Bilingualism does not cause a language delay. Love that. Speech therapist of tiny humans. AAC does not negatively impact speech. These are like public service announcements on T-shirts. That's awesome.
So you have
cool.
to check out COG Gear, COGGEAR. It's run by Vanessa. Her stuff is phenomenal. Certified Dope SLP is one of her. She's got this sweatshirt where it says graduate school, clinical internship, undergrad, graduate school, CFY, CCC, SLP. And they're crossed off like a checklist that you're doing them.
Oh, you would love this one, Katie. Brain Beauty.
Yes, I do love it. Yes.
Brain Beauty Designs. Oh, nice. Okay, check it out. Shopcoggear.com is the one I'm seeing here.
Yep, that's Vanessa.
Well, if I can't be at ASHA, I can at least shop like I'm at ASHA, which is going to be my plan when we are done here. Maddie, do you have any kind of things that you want to leave us with? What should we be thinking about for the next episode? The
next episode, call our podcast number at 612-361-9810, 612-361-9810, and drop your question there. We may tag it and make it into an audiogram. Visit us at freshslp.com. You can leave you can drop a question and in an email, or badassslp.com and drop a question in there, and we will collect these and answer them. We were going to do our episode 5 today, but we were just loving the vibe of ASHA, so we are slipping this one in here. But episode 5, we will answer those questions.
So is episode 5 now episode 6? Is that how we should think about it, Maddie? So episode 5 is our special
5 is our
ASHA excitement episode. I like it. Okay.
Special report, Maddie on site at ASHA.
We should plan on doing this next year at New Orleans.
Okay.
All right. I'm in.
Yep.
Yes.
I know I'll be there.
All right.
Thanks for jumping on, my Fishbowl friends.
Thanks
you for coming at this with lots of energy from ASHA.
Loving the vicarious vibe. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I hope today's conversation has created some aha moments for you and motivated you to become a better SLP, continuing to connect some of those missing links between what you know and how to use that knowledge. Thank you for downloading the Missing Link for SLP's podcast, and if you enjoyed the show, I'd love you to subscribe, rate it, and leave a short review. Also, please share an episode with a friend. Together we can raise awareness and help more SLPs find and connect those missing links and get the information needed to help them feel confident in their patient care every step of the way. Follow me on Instagram and join the Fresh SLP community on Facebook. Show notes are always available, so come learn more at freshslp.com. Let's make those connections. You got this.